Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and guess what's happening today? The most craziest thing ever. That's it. The world's coming to an end. Long form video on what's going on in 2025 September edition. Lots going on out there. I mean, it's just kind of crazy, but I want to put some context so maybe some people out there can kind of calm down a little bit and take advantage to what's going on. So, Taco Pedo president down in the United States is crashing the American economy. There's number one. Number two, the rest of the world's going, huh, interesting. We got to do something about that. Well, there's nothing they can do about the U.S. being just absolutely dumbass craziness. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to do a lot of things. But I want to give you some context on what's happening. I believe history is just repeating itself. That's right. You millennials and Zers, Generation Z, which I like to call Zers, refuse to read books. Okay? And I don't just mean the title of a book. I don't just mean, because that's what you do, watching videos, hate to tell you this, gotta read books. Gotta learn what happened. So I'm gonna give you a little history lesson here. 45 years ago, it's 2025, 1980, what was going on? The exact same thing that's going on right now. I cannot believe that I get to experience this in my lifetime. Now, as someone in their early 60s, this is not good. Retraining, learning a new skill, all this kind of stuff, very difficult. But the millennials complain. Oh, it's terrible. Interest rates are high. Interest rates are not high. It is not terrible. It is the greatest point in history we've ever been. And I'm going to explain to you why right now. Are you ready? In 1980, the inflation rate was 13%. In 1981, it was 12.47%. 1982 was 10.77%. 1983, it finally got down to 5.86%. So think about it. 1980, 13, 80, 81, 82, each year over 10%, almost 13% a year. And then in 83 it came down to 5.86%. And it was years before it even got anywhere close to 2. But it was under 5. It was around 4. And boy, were people happy. People were happy. 4%? What are we today? 2.5? People freaking out. We used to be 8. People are freaking out. So what happened in 1980 when that happened? Then all of a sudden, and I'm just going to talk about history, interest rates here. 1980, you wanted to go get a mortgage, 14.5%. Ooh, that current rate is 4.5, give or take a little bit. Whoo, 14.5%. Ooh, that's crazy. No, that's not crazy. 1981, 21.75%. 21.75% was the 5-year mortgage rate. And I live in Canada. Our rates reset every 5 years. 1982 came down to 13.5. People were dancing the jig. I know. I bought a condo, dancing the jig, and people thought, you're crazy, going back to 20. And this right there is why we're repeating our history. Just because it was somewhere doesn't mean it'll go back there again. That doesn't mean anything. It just was there. It could go back there again. A lot of things have to happen to make that happen. Then 82 went down to 12.5%. And then in 89, we were down to 11.75%, not much. 1995, 9%. 2000, 8%. And from 2000 until now, actually a couple years ago, went to 0. Basically, mortgage rates were 1.99%. The Bank of Canada rate was a 1/4 point, basically 0. That is 0. If you think that's not 0, then go to school, take economics, and learn what it means. Okay? So, what does that mean? We repeating ourselves? Let's take a look at some political stuff that was going on in 1980. There was this guy called Yasser Arafat. And it's just like, I'm sure people out there are like, huh? Who the hell are they getting phones out Googling? It's like I said to someone the other day showing them condos, and the reason I'm making this video on a Sunday is I sold everyone yesterday. Saturday, beautiful day, sold them all condos. I said to somebody, don't be Barney and Fred. And they didn't get it. They were a Z generation, Generation Z, 22 years old, buying their first condo, 180 grand, by the way, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, underground parking, good location, good building. That's right, you can get a place for $200,000 in the city I live in, Blue Sky City, otherwise known as Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So they didn't know they got their phones out, Fred and Barney, looked it up. So way back, and we went through this, Israel and Palestine at war with each other. It was terrible. And then Yasser Arafat was the leader. And then Reagan and Arafat and Israeli, they signed the Oslo Accord to stop blowing each other up. Fast forward to today. Well, didn't work out. I mean, it worked out for, 40 years, but not working out. Hello? Why didn't it work out? Well, there's a bunch of reasons why it didn't work out, but I'm not going to get into that. Just so you know, it's not working out. So guess what? Terrorist group, Hamas, did some things. Israeli said enough. And you got a guy in there that, is willing to bulldoze an entire country because enough is enough. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. That's just what was going on. That's exactly what was going on in 81, 82, 83, 84. Wow. The difference is you got Taco Pedo president in the United States crashing the economy, and he is crashing the economy. There's no doubt about it. Let me ding 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 this. He's going to crash your economy. You're in recession right now in September. October is going to be terrible. November is going to be worse. December is going to be worse. And next year is going to be even worse. Okay? It's going to be terrible. Crashing the economy. Tariffs will isolate you. Everyone else is trying to figure out a way to dump the U.S. and then trade with everyone else. So, that's just how it's going to happen. It's just how it's going to be. But there's going to be opportunity, and people don't see the opportunity. So, let's talk about the millennials and the Zers and what's the problem with them. Just want to let you know there's a problem with Zers and millennials, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Number one, they weren't taught critical thinking. That's the school system's fault. I blame the teachers who, where I live, might be going on strike. It's their fault. It's the education system's fault. It's like, let's do a new way of teaching kids things and not grade them and not fail them, and everyone passes and everyone gets a medal and everyone is wonderful and everyone is beautiful. They didn't create competition, but more importantly, they didn't create critical thinking. They allowed calculators to replace math. They allowed their phones and Google searches and blah, blah, blah. And now we got AI. Chat. GPT. I just finished a course on it. Let me tell you, amazing thing. Can be used for a lot of things, especially level 5. So no critical thinking. So what did they do? Well, in Canada, this is what they did. They voted out Stephen Harper, the sticky old stick up your butt Harper, who almost crashed my company. I have a robotics company, and we've come up with an idea that we think we can make work. Might die before it happens, but anyways, we're working on it. There's 9 of us, plus me, that's 10. We put the money in. Harper cut all our funding, all our grants, and it wasn't a lot of money, but he cut it all. Then, wonderful. What did the millennials and the Zers do? Well, the Zers were too young at the time, but what did the millennials do? They voted in Justin Trudeau. Oh no, I'm in Canada. I've mentioned Pretty Boy. Disgusting. I can't believe the Conservatives use that. My neighbor says it all the time. Other people I know say it all the time. They don't look at what happened or why it happened. They just want to blame immigration. The guy's pretty, blah, blah, blah. But what happened? The millennials voted him in under a green agenda. And the rest of the world kind of did that too. Because inflation was low and interest rates were really low. And so, hey, let's transition to a green electricity and electric cars and solar panels and not use natural gas and keep oil in the ground. All the greens and the viros coming out like crazy. Woo, wee, woo. But guess what? Well, I got you elected. You started doing that. They didn't stop to think. We're going too fast. Is it being effective? And is it actually working? Well, guess what ended up happening? Inflation. Pandemic, spending, blah, blah. Lots of reasons why, but we got big inflation. And when big inflation showed up, the millennials and then the Zers, which now vote, got PP the loser, Donald Trump, people in France, all around the world, immigration's your problem. It's the liberals' fault. It's immigration. We're letting these people in. They're taking your jobs. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what's happening. But you're sitting there going, well, you dumped the liberals and you all went conservative. You didn't even think about what you were voting for. You just did it. And now we're where we're at today. Well, in Canada, we didn't do that, thankfully, but we need to transition. So, why did the millennials and the Zers do that? The boomers are going to keep voting the way they've always voted. Just go look at Battle Creek, where PP the loser just won a seat. Those people voted for him, knowing he's a Donald Trump. Old white people. There you go. Thank you very much. The second thing about the millennials that have a problem, I said critical thinking. They don't critical think anymore. They don't think about all that kind of stuff. They fall for the FUD. Millennials and Zers fall for FUD all the time. They pull their phones out all the time. And they don't actually think anything is true or whatever. They got to try and figure it out on their own, which they should do. But they fall for the FUD. And the FOMO. I'm going to miss out. I'm falling for the FUD and I'm missing out. And if I'm missing out, I got to get into something. And they get into it late. Because the guy that got in first, when it's a scam, he makes the money. The second guy makes the money. The third guy makes the money. Everyone else loses money. Number 3, the problem with the millennials and the Zers, they don't realize that they're the biggest whiners on the planet, next to the baby boomers. But the baby boomers are all dying off, so they're the whiners, and they got to stop being whiners. Okay? They need to step up and understand you are the generation of the future, and it's a wonderful, wonderful future. 2, what are the greatest strengths that the millennials and the Gen Z people are going to do? Well, number 1, the millennials will be the greatest generation. Demographically, they're larger than any right now. 2, they will inherit trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. I cannot stress this enough. The boomers are dying off. The greatest generation is almost gone. And when the boomers die off, that transfer of wealth to the millennials mostly is going to be unbelievable. And what are they going to do with it? Question of the day. Oh, death taxes. We don't have death taxes in Canada. When you sell your primary residence in Canada, there's no tax. You die, you sell your primary residence, there's no tax. So you sell your house for $700,000, say, because you've passed away, and it goes to your kids who are millennials. Like in my situation, they get that money tax-free. They're going to get that $700,000 tax-free. And what are they going to do with it? Well, I can tell you what they're going to do with it, because they'll already own houses. They'll pay their houses off. And anyways, this is a lot of money, and it'll be invested, but it won't be invested the way the old banks want you to do it. I can tell you that for a fact. In fact, the old banks are already switching from where they're telling you to put your money where you should be putting your money. And they will adapt because they want to make billions of dollars, so they will adapt. Number 2, they will take some risk in areas that everyone tells you not to take risk. Let's go back to history. In 1984, I graduated with a computer science degree. I could program languages, machine language, Fortran 4, COBOL. Nobody knows what those are today. I took risk. I took a course that nobody was taking. I came out of school. Unemployment was 15%. Everyone was whining and crating about the National Energy Program. Oh, I just laughed. And first, no one ever read it to see what we should do. And 3, they just wanted to blame and cry. The usual. Oil embargo's over. Oil's everywhere. Price went down. That's what happened. But, still boomers out there talking about it. I worked. I had jobs. Now, I blew it a couple of times and lost all my money, but, when you're crazy like me, you take risks. And also, getting run over by a drunk driver and almost dying changes your outlook on life a little bit. So, you take risk. The millennials are going to take risk. And they're going to take risks in areas that nobody's taken risk in before. And most of them are going to work out. Some of them won't. It's going to be a 50-50. But all this wealth is going to get reinvested into new businesses, new jobs, new things. But there's going to be a transition. It's going to be difficult. Unemployment's going high again, I'm telling you. No one wants to listen to me. Unemployment's going to go high again. Because we are transitioning again. What do you mean transitioning again? Personal computers came in. There were no cell phones. There was no internet in the 80s. There were no cell phones. Nothing. Okay? There was nothing. The personal computer came in. My cell phone does more than the most expensive computer of 1987 could do. You could spend $1 million on a computer in 1987 and it wouldn't do what your phone can do. I can do video on my phone. I can do pictures on my phone. There's so much I can do. I can run a business from my phone. I can invoice. I can bank. I can do all these things. You wanted to go to the bank and do something, you had to get in your car or get your feet with some shoes on it and walk down to the bank. There was no other way to get money. ATMs were starting, but you had to go to the bank, carry cash. Wow. And today, you tap with your phone. So come on, people, wake up. So here we are, new jobs coming in, and history, we're repeating it again. We have new technologies coming in that are replacing the old technologies, and people are freaking out. And there are jobs that are going to disappear. So the millennials and the Zers are going to get a lot of money. They're going to invest in new technologies. There's going to be a time where unemployment's going to be high and everyone's going to think it's bad. But it's not. You've got to be part of the plan. And not FOMO. Don't run into Bitcoin. Don't run into these cryptocurrencies. All this other kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Just so you know. Side note. Bitcoin. Will it go to 500,000 a coin? Will it go to $1 million a coin? Well, until all the coins are found, absolutely. There's a reason for it. I'm not going to get into it right now. But absolutely. So do you want to get in $150,000 Canadian a coin and sell it at $1 million? If you do that, you probably won't sell at $1 million, and it'll go back down to $10 or $1 or 5 cents or disappear. It all depends. Interest rates. So let's get back to my millennial and Zers. They're going to inherit money. They're going to start buying real estate. They need a place to live. Remote work will cause you not having to move like it did in the old days. You got a job somewhere else, you had to go. Well, sometimes you can keep that job and you don't have to move. This is going to be a great thing, especially for certain cities like where I live, with blue skies, clean water, clean air, wonderful things to do, and an international airport. Interest rates are extremely low right now, today. Mortgage rates are 4.5%, give or take, and everyone thinks they're high. That is not high. Did I not tell you in the beginning of the video what they were? In 1980, 81, 82, 83? Are you kidding me? They got as high as 21.5%. 21.5%. That means your mortgage payment on $100,000 was $2,500 a month, when minimum wage was $1.95. Do the math. Okay? They are extremely low. And once they realize they're extremely low, they'll start to take advantage of this. They'll stop renting and start buying. And I don't mean dog crate condos. The builders that are building dog crate condos, you're out of business. They're just going to sit there and rent for $200 a month. Like, why? Why did you even build them? Greed and money. That's why. Next, the conservatives, the PP, Pierre Poilievres, the Donald Trumps, the right-wing conservatives, the Nazis, the blah blah blahs are gone. Also, liberals, Democrats, lefties, far lefties are gone. They're not going to get reelected. Oh, there's a couple places here and there they'll get reelected, but they're gone. Now, people that are going to take over politics and governments at this point in time in 2025 are going to be progressives. That's right. Carney got in Canada. He's a progressive. He's a liberal progressive, but he's still a progressive. And what did the first thing he did? Got rid of the carbon tax for people. There's still a carbon tax out there that's still collecting money. They're reinvesting in solar, wind, nuclear, blah, 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 all the energy things that's coming up. But you have to change. They have to change. We were on a path that wasn't working. So now that you've got to change this path, and you got to make these investments of infrastructure investments and education. Really important. Infrastructure and education. Okay? So the progressives are going to come in. And what are the progressives are going to do? The progressives aren't going to cut taxes for wealthy people. What a dumbass thing to do. They're so low, it's pathetic. They're not going to cut taxes on corporations. They're going to put them back up to where they were a couple years ago. Not crazy ass like it was. Do you know the capital gains tax where I lived in Canada in 1980 was 70%? 70%. That's what it was. You had a $100,000 gain, $70,000 went in taxes. Today, I get half of that tax-free, $50,000 tax-free. The other $50,000 I claim as income, 25% tax on that 50 grand. Okay, that's what it works out to. 25% overall. I did that wrong. 50% tax-free, 50% I claim as income. The highest tax bracket is 50%. So I have to pay $25,000 in tax on that $100,000 gain. If it was a $100 million gain, it would be $25 million. If it was a $1 billion gain, do the math. See what I say? It's 25%, basically. Okay? 70% in 1980, 25%. So, you know, keep the capital gains where it is. The personal income tax rates are going to go back up a little bit. Rich people are going to start paying more. Corporate taxes are going to go back to 17.5 from 14, and that's just the way it is. And if you're going to cry about it, leave. This has to happen. Balanced budgets have to come in. And strong Canadian dollars. Now, everyone's going to disagree with me on this because they're going to think lowering taxes will create jobs, which they've never done. All it does is make rich people rich. So let's go to balanced budgets. Millennials and Zers are going to get balanced budgets, and it's going to be painful. People are going to lose their jobs. There's going to be programs disappearing. But there's a couple things that are not going to disappear. One is healthcare. Everything else is going to be gone. Okay? If the government is giving a subsidy to somebody for something, gone. Corporate tax breaks and kickbacks and corporate welfare, gone. If you're a business and you're counting on government money to keep your business afloat, I highly recommend you get out of that business because that money is going to be gone. And as soon as that corporate welfare is gone, we have a balanced budget with a surplus. I've done the math. It's pretty simple, and that is coming. 2, regressives are going to get in, and this is why. Education is going to be ramped up. Infrastructure is going to be ramped up. Energy infrastructure, that is. And taxes are going to go up. Interest rates are going to stay around 5 to 6%. And we're going to have balanced budgets in Canada and around the world, except for the United States. I don't even want to get into what's happening in the United States. If this latest bill gets passed, U.S. is in trouble. And I mean big trouble. Big trouble. They've gone past 36 trillion. And as I did in my year 3 economics class, I said the United States can incur debt up to $36 trillion. After that, the interest and cost of the debt will be greater than anything that they can do, and eventually will lead them into just terrible times. The rest of us are going to change. Okay? This is what the U.S. is going to do. Get ready for this. They're going to start causing the dollar to go down. Tariffs and all that kind of stuff is going to cause it to go down. Our dollar in Canada is going to go up. Strong Canadian dollars, strong euros, strong pounds. Okay, you hear me? The stronger our dollars are in Canada compared to the US, the cheaper everything will be, and we need deflation. Things got too expensive, and especially at the store. We need deflation. If the Canadian dollar is stronger comparatively to the US, everything is cheaper in Canada because the US fought hard and long. They got off the gold standard. Nixon did it. They made it a reserve currency. They priced everything in US dollars. Oil, corn, soybeans, you name it, sold in US dollars. That's not going to change. Everyone says, oh, they're going to get together and change it. Well, dude, took the US 50 years to make them a reserve currency. It'll take 50 years for them not to be a reserve currency. That's just the way it is. Everything will be cheaper here because our dollar will be stronger comparatively to that US dollar. So something trading for $100 US and our dollar's now stronger. Instead of me paying $140 for it, I'll pay $90 for it, and that's coming. Strong Canadian dollars make everything cheaper. Makes all the imports cheaper. All the inputs to businesses will be cheaper. They can make things cheaper because all the inputs are cheaper. Okay? You see what I'm getting at here? Strong Canadian dollars. That's just the way it is. Are you ready for this? Now, to finish off this video, I want to tell you about what's happening that is, I gotta tell you, absolutely amazing, and why I think this is the beginning of an absolute amazing time the next 25 to 40 years. I don't think I'm going to live that long. Mainly because of getting run over by a drunk driver and really having a lot of fun. And a lot of fun. So I have no regrets. It ends tomorrow. I'm a happy guy. It's been amazing. That's why I don't really have much money now making these videos. 1. Crypto. 2025. Crypto. Crypto is going to be FOMO for a while, and Bitcoin's going to take off, and maybe something else, but just understand. Crypto is a fad, will not last. It's like pet rocks. Okay, now it's 150,000 Canadian for a Bitcoin right now, and because I know how it works, I can totally see this go to $1 million a coin for sure until they find them all. But once they're all found, it has to turn into a transaction fee based business. For Bitcoin to actually become a currency like a dollar in my pocket, okay, from the Canadian government, US government, whatever, it has to be able to transact millions of transactions a day, and they can't do that. I think the most they could probably do is 30,000 transactions a day. Okay, so until it gets, and then there'll have to be fees to maintain the system, because this is digital and it takes massive amounts of energy to maintain these networks. I've looked into it. Lots of energy needed, a lot. So as soon as that happens, as soon as they're all found, people aren't going to hoard them anymore, because if you find a Bitcoin and you got it in your wallet, it's worth $150,000. Well, I'm not selling it. It's going to $1 million. So that's what's going on. As soon as they're all found, the price will just crash to zero, unless it turns into a transaction-based currency that's used everywhere by everybody. It won't be $1 million a coin, though. Nobody can afford $1 million for a coin. Okay, so for it to be transaction based, commissions will go in, just like Visa, MasterCard, just like the banks. It'll have to turn into that, or it'll disappear, because nobody will want it anymore. And the people that got in first, they'll be all out at $1 million or 500,000. They'll be gone. So the FOMO, the little guy gets ripped off again. So just so you know, crypto will turn into a transaction based fee organization, just like a bank, or gone. Simple as that. AI. AI right now is the biggest thing going in 2025. It's in its infancy. It's not very good. It can do some things. Companies are embracing it, letting people go, and FOMO again on that. So people are jumping in, and it's going to go crazy for a while, and then it's going to crash. Because to get to what we really want with AI, 10 years away, 12 years away. Computing power has to increase exponentially for that to happen. Okay, same as self-driving, all that kind of stuff. So right now it's FOMO. So you got NVIDIA going through the roof and a few others. But again, it's only going to go so far, and then it's going to crash, because it can only do so much at the moment. Okay? It can only do so much at the moment. Right now it looks really good. There's a coming to Jesus moment with that one. Inflation. Inflation is going to crash. Not for the United States. The United States is going to go into stagflation and hyperinflation. That's just the way it is. Their debt's too high, and they refuse to do anything about it. And the average person doesn't understand how bad it is. They keep voting for dumbasses like Taco Pedo President, otherwise known as Donald J. Trump. And you continue to put people like that in there, bye-bye. Things are going to be terrible. 4. This is going to be the big one. Energy. I cannot express this enough. What kind of energy? Natural gas energy? Nuclear energy? Solar energy? No. All energy. Energy is the future. How we use energy in the future, how efficient we are with energy in the future, and let me tell you, all forms of electrical generation better start embracing it and hugging it like it's a huggy bear. Okay? Oh yeah, there we go, boo-boo. I mean, energy, power plants, nuclear power plants. If we don't get on this right away in Canada, we're going to be left behind. The countries that get the energy going, nuclear power plants, natural gas power plants, solar, wind, geothermal, you name it, battery backup, whatever. However you can do it efficiently. Okay, we got to get efficient at this. And start it right now. Whatever we got going, whatever you have going where you live, you need to triple it. I'm telling you, you got to triple it. We got 20,000 megawatts under power generation in Alberta. We need 60, and we need it in 5 years. Tons of jobs. Energy, energy, energy. We need energy. We need a ton of it, a ton of it, a ton of it. I cannot stress this. We need energy, electrical energy and efficiency. And saying no to natural gas and saying no to this and saying no to that. It's not green enough. And then, of course, the old companies do the greenwashing thing. You know, if you make a car, it produces this many tons of CO2. Gasoline is better than an EV. Dumbest thing ever. The amount of CO2 made in a combustion engine car compared to the amount of CO2 that's put in the air making an EV are the same. It's just that when I drive my EV, I don't make any. That's the difference. So, next. 2, robotics. Not Tesla. Tesla Robotics is a joke. That's all I have to say. But all the other companies out there that are working on robotics, it's going to explode. Absolutely explode. The jobs, the industries, the things that robotics are going to do in the next 10 years, not today, they're very slowly coming in, but within 10 years, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't even express how big this is going to be. It's going to be absolutely amazing, especially for jobs that cause humans to die, okay, that are extremely dangerous. 3, remote work expands. There'll still be office buildings, stuff like that, but depending on what you do, you can probably do it anywhere. And if you're efficient and good at it, and the businesses know you're efficient and good at it, they'll let you do it wherever you want. So cities will grow based on how good of a city it is to live in, not just because a company is based there. Do you follow me? This is a fundamental change. The pandemic showed it. It's being pulled back because older people weren't productive. But the Zers and the millennials understand they got to be productive or they're going to lose their jobs. And they're finding out the hard way right now. They're not productive. They're losing their jobs. You got to be productive. You got to critically think. You've got to contribute. And you can work wherever you want. And this is going to be a big thing. So cities that offer wonderful things to the people that live there will expand and grow. And where I live, Blue Sky City, that's why we're expanding. That's why we're growing. That's why people are moving here. Next, healthcare. Healthcare innovation, not just healthcare hospitals, but innovation in healthcare. Okay, this is going to be so big, I can't even explain it. Better ways to do knee and hip replacements, heart surgeries, lungs, livers, weight loss, you name it. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. If I was smart enough to get into that, I would get into healthcare innovation right now. Well, I'm in the robotics thing because math is a big part of that. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to explode. Not in the United States. They got people down there that don't want any innovation. They just banned vaccinations in Florida. Polio. They banned polio vaccination. This is crazy. So sorry, US, you're going to be left behind. The rest of the world will just keep on going. Also, what's going to happen when we get our strong Canadian dollars, basic income. Countries are going to bring out a basic income for people, but in today's dollars, probably $2,000 a month. And that's just all there is to it. Where there's going to be a basic income instead of unemployment insurance and all these other programs. And if you add up all the other programs and you put them all together, it's about, you could give basic income to 18 plus until you're dead, almost for the same cost. Like, it's so close, it's unbelievable. There's hundreds of programs out there. You just bring in basic income, everyone. You turn 18, you get it. And people say, oh, they won't work and they won't do this. No, they will. But they'll go to school and they'll be able to afford it because they're getting $2,000 a month. You don't need student loans. Banks won't like that. Anyways, basic income's coming in. And there's nothing you can do about it. The conservatives will cry and complain and say everyone's lazy, and there'll be a portion of the population will go to that. Those are the boomers. They're all dying. Goodbye. The world's changing. This is what it's changing to. Lastly, I just want to let you know, for the millennials and the Zers out there, and the Xers and the Boomers and everyone else, you're all just a bunch of mamby-pamby crybabies. That's right, I said it. You're just a bunch of crybabies. You know what? Life is tough. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would be successful, but it doesn't work that way. So, learn what you need to do. We're heading into recession. Things are going to be tough. Nobody wants that. Oh no, all the tariffs, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? You have good times and you have bad times, and then you have good times and then you have bad times. In Ontario right now, the real estate market is crashing. In Alberta, the real estate market is going up. In Vancouver, the real estate market is crashing. In Alberta, the real estate market is going up. We have all these tariffs and stuff, and people think because Alberta's going up in real estate that it's going to start going down. It's going to crash like the rest of the country. We're a big country. Not all the country goes down at the same time. Not all the country goes up at the same time. There's always good times and bad times. Sometimes great times, sometimes really bad times. This is the cycle of economics. It's just all there is to it. And you need to be prepared for it. So prepare yourself for it. Get ready for it. Stop crying in your soup every time something goes wrong. Find out why it went wrong and what you can do to fix it. I feel bad for manufacturing in Ontario right now because they're losing their jobs for nothing that they did. They were wonderful manufacturers, but one guy decided you can't be. But there's a transition happening. You guys are going to all go back to work, but we have to transition. It can't happen overnight in one day. There's going to be some pain. The U.S. is heading to... I'm not even going to say what it is. It's just going to be bad down there. That's all there is to it. And 77 million people voted for Taco Pito. You're getting what you deserve. Don't bail them out. If I was California, if I could find a way of not contributing money to the federal government and keep it for myself, I would. But no bailouts. You voted for it. Anyways, this is what's happening. Get ready for it. It can't happen overnight. Things take time. But let's stop going after Nazi Pierre Poilievre, dumbass conservative thinking of, it's immigrants and it's this and it's that. And then the far left, everything should be unionized, everything should be free, everything should be... Like, it doesn't work like that. Progressives win. I'm a progressive. I used to be a progressive conservative, but they got rid of those guys. So wake up and decide, what do I want to do? Life is going to be very, very good for the next 25 years, and nobody thinks it will be. But guess what? You heard it from me. It will be. It's going to be amazing. The stuff that's coming out over the next couple of years is going to blow your mind away. And there's companies trying to work on it. Will they succeed? I don't know. They might not. But I can tell you this much. They will succeed. And lastly, I like to finish off with the car industry. Right now, in the car industry, the exact same thing is happening all over again, just like in 1984. The Japanese came to North America, and the car companies started to go out of business and freak out. Well, guess what's happening? The Chinese are coming to the North American market with EVs. And guess what? The legacy automakers are freaking out because they didn't bother to grasp what is happening. It's happening all over again. How it will shake out, I have no idea. I hope it shakes out to our benefit, because it will shake out to our benefit. But just remember, this is happening again because people refuse to change and understand the future. It doesn't stop, you guys. If we're going to get to Mars, the future has to change. So thank you for tuning in and listening to me babble along on a wonderful Sunday. It's going to be 28 degrees today. It's sunny. It's wonderful. I said September is going to be a wonderful month for Blue Sky City, and so far that's exactly how it's turned out. Hope you have yourself a wonderful weekend, month, and year. And remember, I'll see you in the future. And remember, it's a wonderful day out there.